Well, advisors to the FDA say a key ingredient in painkillers is linked to liver damage. They recommended a ban on prescription painkillers, Percocet and Vicodin, and lower dosages of Johnson & Johnson's Tylenol. The question now is, will the FDA agree? We are joined by Les Funtleyder. He's a healthcare strategist at Miller Tabak. He is also author of the book, Healthcare Investing, Profiting from the New World of Pharma, Biotech, and Healthcare Services. Les, always great to see you.
Good morning.
First of all, you say this is not really breaking news that acetaminophen, which is found in Tylenol and these other two painkillers, causes liver damage. You say people have known this for years.
Right. We've known this for years. The too high a dose, bad for your liver. Also, when mixed with lots of alcohol, also bad for your liver.
Which, you know, in theory is not a stretch in the medical world. If you're mixing painkillers with alcohol, not usually recommended.
Right.
What does this do, though, as far as the FDA? I mean, the FDA does usually follow panel's advice, right?
Right.
That's
more
the
often
reason
than
they're
not,
there.
they do follow the panel, but occasionally they'll make their own decision. And it's possible here. Certainly, there's no timeline in this case, but probably in the next couple of months we'll see.
Is the FDA getting tougher? I mean, there is a new commissioner. Is this a change in the times?
Well, it's something we're watching. Obviously, there could be this is one data point. It could become a trend if we start to see these panels more often. Clearly, the FDA's had some black eyes, you know, bad burritos and other things the last few years.
Imports from China.
And right,
not
cookie
screens.
dough, and that's on the food side. Then on the drug side, obviously, Vioxx and Avandia, and the list goes on and on. So it may very well be that the new FDA is taking a harder look at safety issues, in which case it will have an impact on drug approval times, drug approvals. So it is something we're watching, but one data point doesn't necessarily make a trend, and we do have to see how the FDA ultimately rules.
But if the average person has Johnson & Johnson in a stock portfolio, should that investor be paying attention, saying, hey, look, there may be a stricter regulatory environment coming down the line?
Well, I definitely think there will be a stricter regulatory environment. Whether or not this particular event is meaningful for Johnson & Johnson seems unlikely, since Tylenol is not, in the scheme of things, that big to Johnson & Johnson. Nevertheless, you should watch, especially for the consumer companies like Johnson & Johnson.
But I mean, people could really freak out. I mean, it could be a PR disaster for J&J, which would actually affect the stock, right?
It certainly could be, or it could just be a public health concern where people get really concerned and start not taking their acetaminophen and doing something else, which might be bad. We also don't want to alarm anybody necessarily.
What does this say about Big Pharma's chances of getting new drugs approved? I mean, if the FDA, let's just move on that hypothesis, is going to get stricter, what does this mean for the business landscape?
Well, it's going to mean lower valuations. Obviously, if the FDA is taking their time or not allowing drugs to be approved altogether, it's clearly going to be a negative. I think certainly the last couple of years have shown the FDA slowing down, so it would just be a continuation of the trend.
I heard you say there's no real timeline here for the FDA's call on acetaminophen, but can you give us a little bit narrower? I mean, is it 6 months out? Is it 12 months out?
Normal times from panel to announcement, something like 3 months, anywhere between 45 days and 3 months. So I would expect that this would be the case here too. This is more of a safety issue as opposed to a drug approval, so the rules are a little less strict.
Okay. Les, always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Les Funtleyder there from Miller Tabak.